Hey guys, welcome to Exploring Cinema, and welcome to my new show, Last Week in Cinema. I've been doing this for only a couple episodes now, and in it I talk about the bigger news in the world of movies that broke last week, the previous week from when the episode airs. Now, before I actually start, I just want to first start by saying thank you for watching me, and for joining me today. And just hear me talk about movies, whether it's in my film reviews or if it's in my other content like this show. And for those of you who are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe so that you can keep up with everything that's going on here at Exploring Cinema. Now, okay, as I stated before, this show is all about the news that broke last week. And I do this because I kind of like doing it early in the morning, but at the same time, I naturally work night shift. So, I can't make videos, like constant videos on things that break, because by the time I wake up, it doesn't even matter anymore. So I decided to take that disadvantage and try to turn it into a strength. So I came up with the idea of doing a show every Monday that, that talks about everything that happened in the previous week. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. And last week, I didn't have much as far as topics. I only had like 3, so it was really short, and I said, listen, it'll probably be better next week, and I shouldn't have jinxed myself, because there are a lot of topics, like actually more than my first episode, which had like 10. But we'll get through this as quickly as possible. But what I always do to start off the show is that I talk about the previous week's box office report, basically what started the week, focusing on just the top 5, and then I get into the news topics themselves. Not including Thanksgiving Day, this is the weekend box office for the weekend of November 26th to the 24th to the 26th. I'm sorry, I was reading that backwards. In 5th place, we have Daddy's Home 2, with the U.S. weekend grossing at $13.2 million, with an overall U.S. domestic of $72.6 million, and a worldwide total of 73.6. So really not much attention overseas, and I really don't have huge comments on Daddy's Home 2 because I haven't seen it, though I've heard it's really not very good. After that, we have Thor Ragnarok. The U.S. weekend grossing was $16.8 million. Overall, U.S. domestic has been $277.6 million, and then a worldwide total of $791.5 million. This film is going strong worldwide. I mean, I can't wait until, I can't wait to see if Thor ends up surpassing Spider-Man Homecoming as the highest-grossing comic book movie of 2017, since Homecoming is currently sitting at a, let me see, a worldwide gross of $880.2 million, and Thor Ragnarok is less than $100 million away. And I personally think with those numbers, as well as the overall critical and critical response, as well as the audience response, Ragnarok will take away the record from Homecoming in no time, probably in another 2 weeks. Okay, I actually need water. I came prepared this time. Usually I don't. And I end up suffering. Okay, in 3rd place is the cute little family drama Wonder. The U.S. weekend grossing... Oh, I just got a YouTube comment. Or not comment. I got a notification. I don't know why I said comment. The U.S. weekend grossing for Wonder is $22.6 million, with an overall U.S. domestic of $69.8 million, with a worldwide total of $70.7. And I'm really glad that this film has gotten so much positive buzz. It's really a cute movie, a cute little movie, and I definitely enjoyed it. The film had about a $20 million budget, and even though the marketing cost is unknown, I think it's safe to say that Wonder has made a hell of a profit so far, and it only looks even more amazing on the director's resume, you know, Steven Chbosky, who also directed... shit, what did he direct? Perks of Being a Wallflower, that's what he directed. Okay, in 2nd place, sadly, it was way too high, was Justice League. And if you can tell from my tone, I really did not like the movie. Okay, so this film Oh, wait, I didn't even, get to the numbers. I'm sorry. The weekend grossing for the U.S. was $41 million, with an overall U.S. domestic of $171.9 million, with an overall worldwide total of $482.9 million. Okay, this film. Once the reshoots and everything were done, it came out to cost around $300 million, making it one of the most expensive films ever made. And Warner Brothers executives have come out recently and said that with the amount of marketing push that the film had, in order for Justice League to actually be profitable, it has to make at least $600 million worldwide. And actually, I think the other day it was changed, but somebody said it's now considered to be profitable at $700 million. But I'm just going off of the report that I actually read myself back on, I think it was Tuesday. But now, even though I would prefer Justice League to crash and burn, because I'm an asshole, it does seem to be on track to at least make some kind of a profit. Unless it is the 700, then I don't know, it'll be a little bit harder. And then in first place was Coco, which made me really happy. The U.S. weekend grossing was $50.8 million, with an overall U.S. domestic of $72.9 million, and that was because the film actually opened up on the prior Wednesday, like the day before Thanksgiving. And then the worldwide total so far for that weekend was $155.2 million. And I was ecstatic to see Coco surpass Justice League in his first week. And just to be getting as much attention as it has been. Hell, my review on the film on my channel is actually officially my fastest growing video in a 7-day period, and I'm actually really excited about that. Just everybody's been praising the story, characters, animation, and with the only complaints really referring to the Frozen featurette that showed up ahead, I will admit I'm probably one of the only people who actually likes watching it. I mean, I'm not going in to actually, like, critique it or anything. I thought it was cute, you know. I mean, I saw the movie another time and I thought that it was less cute, so it's kind of waning on me, but I still enjoyed it. And then Coco has already broken one important record last week. A little while ago, it broke the record of the highest grossing film of all time in the country of Mexico. Not animated film, but film. And that record hasn't been broken since 2012 when the Avengers came out, the first Avengers movie. And we already know this is going to make Pixar a fair bit of money, but it's painfully obvious with how the rest of the year's animation has gone. Coco is a definite win for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. Okay, now we're getting into our first topic. Hang on, let me whet my whistle. I am never saying that again. Okay, no, knowing me, I will actually say that again. Okay, so, there aren't too many films that score 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. And that's a pretty hard thing to do since the score is based off of the reviews of thousands and thousands of critics who have seen a film, although not really thousands, it's more like hundreds of critics have actually seen a film. And naturally, if a film is considered great, there are usually critics who don't agree. That's just how having an opinion works. But the score for Rotten Tomatoes is based off of how many critics would recommend the film in question to an audience member. Well, 100% is very possible, and for a while, the film with 100% rating that many critics reviewed was Toy Story 2 with 163 reviews. And actually last Monday, it was surpassed by a movie that I actually saw in theaters the day before with my lovely fiancé. The new Greta Gerwig film, Lady Bird, had surpassed Toy Story 2, becoming the best reviewed film of all time on Rotten Tomatoes. And currently, as of filming this video, I actually forgot to pull this up. Excuse me. Give me a second, I'm trying to work as quickly as possible. The current amount on Lady Bird, and it's still 100%, damn. The current number of critics that have checked it out was 186. That's a little over 20 more critics than Toy Story did. Now, that doesn't mean that Lady Bird is the best film of all time, no ifs, ands, or buts. That's not how things work on Rotten Tomatoes. What it does mean is that both that every critic that has reviewed it has either liked it or loved it. And with that news, the studio could actually even see more reason to continue expanding the amount of theaters that Lady Bird is shown in. And this is a film that deserves to be seen by as many people, and it's certainly one of my favorite films of the year, and I can't see why, with the success of Lady Bird so far, and along with future success due to this news, as well as, you know, it's gonna be nominated for some Oscars. It's just obvious. It could actually be nominated for Best Picture come February or March. It just depends when the Oscars take place. I don't know. I would say that we'd get the nominations in mid-January to mid-February. I'm just going to guess on that. Sorry, I started rambling and I kind of had a brain fart for a second. I'm sorry. Okay, so for the next topic. This one has to do with James Cameron and his Avatar sequels. Okay. I love James Cameron's Avatar. Sure, from a narrative and character standpoint, it's a bit weak, and I recognized that when it first came out, but to this day, I still don't understand why the majority of people who praised it when it first came out are just shitting all over the film left and right. I mean, fucking hypocrites. But anyway, back to the topic. The first sequel to Avatar is scheduled to come out within the next couple of years, and there's already 3 other sequels that are planned to precede that one. Or, precede... They're coming after them. I don't know if I was using that word right. The idea to do so many sequels after the level of interest on the franchise or property as a whole has diminished just around a decade later. I mean, it's never gonna achieve the same box office numbers that the first one did. We all know that. Like, there's no questioning that. And even James Cameron knows this because speaking to Variety Fair. Or, wait, Variety. No, Vanity Fair, not... I was thinking Variety. Cameron actually said that all the films build to a larger meta-narrative. If there aren't 4th or 5th installments, that's okay. And let's face it, if Avatar 2 and Avatar 3 don't make enough money, there's not going to be enough... there's not going to be enough reason to see... Oh, I'm getting a spam call. There's not going to be a reason to do 4 and 5. They're fully encapsulated stories in and of themselves. It builds across the 5 films to create a kind of meta-narrative. But they're fully formed films in their own rights, unlike, let's say, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, where you just had to go, oh shit, well alright, I guess I'll come back to that one next year. Even though all that worked out and everybody did. Sorry, that was all of what I just said when I was looking down. That was an entire quote from James Cameron. Okay, in the recent past, it has seemed that all four sequels had been greenlit by Fox, but it would seem that it was more of a tentative agreement, which isn't as bad of an idea as it would be giving the go-ahead for 4 films that no one can be completely sure will be successful or not. Still, with James Cameron always pushing the boundaries of film technology, who knows where this, or if the film is going to, you know, change the mind of the audience with some trailers. Hell, I'm actually pretty excited because with the first sequel, Cameron has suggested that he and the other filmmakers have achieved something great, and that's the ability to film motion capture while underwater, a technique that has never been done before, and I'm actually pretty sure has never been tried before, so I really cannot look... I can't even tell you how much I'm looking forward to it. Okay, moving on to the next topic. The first 2 of... the next 2 Avengers movies, not the first, I'm sorry. I'm really tired today, but I'm gonna scratch that. Okay, for the next topic. The next two Avengers films are being shot back to back, and a lot of people are thinking that it could actually signal the end of the MCU as we know it. But it also could just be because, you know, there's all these people working in just the main cast. You can't just expect everybody to be able to shoot all at the same time and then, you know, come back for the next film. What is that? God, another spam text. I hate my phone. I really do. Fucking hate it. Shit, where was I? Oh yeah, you can't just ask these guys to come back for another film at like an undesignated time. They all have schedules. Being an actor is being paid to do a job, and you can't just ask them to cancel any other jobs that they potentially have just so that they can come back. But as a profile in Variety, this one's actually Variety, it states that the films will mark the end of the MCU as we know it because some of the older characters will be retiring. Whether that means that the characters, whoever they are, will be hanging up their capes or whatever, or they'll die, who really knows. And the reason why a few original characters will be going is because of ending contracts. You know, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, Mark Ruffalo, and Chris Evans, just to name a few. Their contracts are ending soon, and also it can't hurt to put aside those who have been in the universe for 10 plus years, just to make sure that we get newer characters. And actually, Kevin Feige, the master, somebody that I actually worship, the master behind the entire MCU, added this statement. Avengers 4, he said, will bring things you've never seen to a superhero, any superhero film, including a finale. There will be two distinct periods, everything before Avengers 4 and everything after. I know it will not be in ways people that are expecting. And personally, I'm really excited to see all these characters that I've grown up to love ever since 2008 with the first Iron Man. I can't wait to see them all placed in just one grand film. And I also wonder who's going to replace Robert Downey Jr. as the centerpiece character. I'm going to say Black Panther. Let's try Black Panther. We'll see if my theory is true down the line. Okay, okay, on to the next topic. One movie title that I've heard quite a few times when it comes to underrated movies is Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World. And for those people who actually consider it underrated have also said that the movie could easily be turned into a franchise, seeing as the book that the film is based off of is part of a very long 20-novel series of books. Now, about a decade and a half later, so today, after the original film came out, Russell Crowe has actually taken to Twitter and said this: "Hey, for the Aubrey Maturin lovers, I do hear whispers, indeed, that a second voyage is perhaps potentially pre-proposed a possibility. So, O'Brien affectionates and aficionados, let 20th Century Fox know of your pleasure." This mildly interests me. I say mildly because I've never seen Master and Commander, as it's probably obvious from what I said earlier. But you know what? In the end of the year, I should just watch it and make that one of my reviews for next year. I'll actually see if I can do that. And from my understanding, the original director, Peter Weir, who is, I believe, at this moment 73, hasn't directed a movie since 2010, and I don't believe that he'd be the one to direct the sequel if it happened. But anyway, we shall see what happens. Okay, now this one's a little lengthy, but I'll try to get through it really quickly. Last year we had a continuation of the Wizarding World that wasn't tied to the name Harry Potter, and that film was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Everybody was excited because not only did the filmmakers succeed in not infringing on the beloved property of Harry Potter, they also found a good way to separate the new stories from everything that had come before, making the series actually feel a bit more contained, but at the same time giving more history to one of the biggest franchises of all time. And what was better, we got the original creator of the Harry Potter novels, J.K. Rowling, as the screenwriter. She and the filmmakers chose to go back in time and focus on things only mentioned slightly in the Harry Potter books and films, but mostly books, but that's a given. One of the key components of the Fantastic Beasts saga is Gellert. I think that's how you pronounce it. Gellert Grindelwald. A wizard who was considered the most powerful dark wizard of all time until Voldemort came to power. And the role of Grindelwald, the director David Yates chose Johnny Depp for it. Since it's been over a decade since Johnny Depp was at the height of his popularity with the Pirates franchise, people weren't exactly clamoring to see him in later films, judging by most of his recent films in the box office. And then in mid-2016, before the film came out, there was news of his divorce with Amber Heard, as well as a bunch of allegations of physical and verbal abuse on Depp's part. Given the allegations against Depp, some have actually called for a recasting, but speaking with Entertainment Weekly, let me bring this up, David Yates has actually come out to defend the casting of Depp and why he thinks that the role should not be recast. Here's what he said. Honestly, there's an issue at the moment where there's a lot of people being accused of things. They're being accused by multiple victims, and it's compelling and frightening. With Johnny, it seems to me that there was only one person who took a pop at him and claimed something. I can only tell you about the man that I see every day. He's full of decency and kindness, and that's all I see. Whatever accusation was out there doesn't tally with the kind of human being I've been working with. And actually, he also notes that many of Johnny Depp's exes, including, hang on, let me pull up some names, Laurie Ann Allison, Vanessa Paradis, I don't know how to pronounce her name, and Winona Ryder have actually come out publicly defending him. By testament, some of the women in Depp's life have said the same thing. That's not the human being we know. It's very different than cases where multiple accusers over multiple years, or where there are those that need to be examined, and we need to reflect on our industry that allows that to roll on year in and year out. Johnny is not in that category in any shape or form, so to me, it doesn't bear any more analysis. It's a dead issue. This is definitely a tough subject to address, but if Yates truly believes in what he says, then I buy it, because I actually do remember how I felt when I heard about the allegations, and I even remember Winona Ryder specifically coming out to defend him publicly. But whether you think he should stay in or not, for now it seems that Johnny Depp is here to stay, and we will see him again. We'll see him continue the role in Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, which will come out next year, November. And also, don't forget, we will also get a young Albus Dumbledore, played by Jude Law. I actually think that's the part that I'm most excited about. It's gonna be fun. Oh, never mind. This one's gonna probably be the longest one, because I'm gonna rant a lot. I will go ahead and say I'm sorry. I'm just really passionate about this. So for the next topic, after I almost said wet my whistle again. I know, I'm lame. Many actors in the past have just quietly retired by not seeking any more work, you know, like Gene Hackman. And considering that the person I'm about to talk about is very private about his personal life, Daniel Day-Lewis has made a statement on why he's retiring from acting after his collaboration with Paul Thomas Anderson in the film Phantom Thread, which is less than a month away. It's supposed to be dropping on December 25th, on Christmas Day. In an interview with W Magazine, he said the following: "Before making the film, I didn't know that I was going to stop acting. I do know that Paul and I laughed a lot before we made the film, and then we stopped laughing because we were both overwhelmed by a sense of sadness. That took us by surprise. We didn't realize what we had given birth to. It was hard to live with, and still is. I still haven't figured it out." He said on why he decided to retire, but it's settled on me, and it's just there. Not wanting to see the film is connected to the decision I've made to stop working as an actor, because he doesn't actually want to see the film after he's done. As far as the film world is concerned, he's retired right now. Anyway, I'm going to finish it. But that's not why the sadness came to stay. That happened during the telling of the story, and I don't know why. And he also even mentioned how unusual a statement about the topic is. I knew it was uncharacteristic to put out a statement, but I did want to draw the line. I didn't want to be sucked back into another project. All my life, I've mouthed off about how I was going to stop acting, and I don't know why it was different for me this time, but that impulse to quit took root in me, and that became a compulsion. It was just something that I had to do. And then I'm about to get into my rant, but I need a lot of water. Or that should be enough. Sorry. Before I get into my talk about Daniel Day-Lewis himself, I did notice the other day on Facebook that quite a few people believe that his decision to not see the film means that Phantom Thread will just be a shitty movie. Well, okay, it's more of people wondering if that's a possibility or not. I personally don't believe that, especially because that's not what he said at all. But anyway, onto my rant. The original announcement of his retirement actually made me extremely sad because I'm one of the people who considers Daniel Day-Lewis to be the world's greatest actor, you know, to ever live. Not just living right now, but to ever live. And I had first learned about Day-Lewis when I went to see his film Lincoln in the theater by myself back in 2012, and actually I do have a review of the movie on my channel. Yeah, I didn't know who he was. I just wanted to see a movie about Lincoln because I love history, and I was just so moved watching him because I actually believed, he made me believe that I was watching Abraham Lincoln many times during it because it was just a powerful performance. And then in following years, I had seen Gangs of New York, and after a bit realized that the same guy who played Lincoln played a crime boss in the film, and I just couldn't believe it. I had to watch the film again and again and try really hard to see that they were both the same person. And that's because of he becomes each role that he gets on or gets into, whether it's onset or offset, and he takes up many different skills that the characters that he plays would have. Hell, for Gangs of New York, he took up apprentice butcher lessons and even took boxing lessons for his film The Boxer with his trainer. Actually, let me look this up. Former boxing world champion Barry McGeown. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but the guy actually claimed that Day-Lewis had become so proficient in the sport that he actually could have become a professional boxer when he was done. Sadly, though, Day-Lewis devotes himself so much to his craft, and that's led to many injuries in the past. He allegedly broke 2 ribs during the filming of My Left Foot, which he won an Oscar for. He broke a nose and damaged a disc in his back in The Boxer, and even contracted pneumonia during the filming of Gangs of New York because, like I said, he plays that role on and off set, and he was wearing clothes that weren't able to keep him warm enough, but he said, no, I'm going to keep doing this because this is what they would be wearing. But anyway, I'm rambling a bit. It wasn't until the Paul Thomas Anderson film, yes, they've worked before, There Will Be Blood, that I considered him the greatest. If you haven't seen any performance of his, I suggest that you start with There Will Be Blood. But anyway, back to the actual statement. I'm okay with the idea of him retiring. Nobody should have to work forever, no matter how good they are, and he has mentioned in the past that with the devotion of his craft, it really takes out a lot of energy in him when he's done playing these characters on and off screen. I don't want him to risk any more injury, sickness, or even just using up a lot of energy to get more movies out of him. And with filming on Phantom Thread already finished, as I said, Daniel Day-Lewis is officially retired. I don't know what he's doing right now, but I hope he's really happy, and who knows? He's always loved woodworking, and he even took a 5-year hiatus from acting years back to become a shoemaker. Maybe he'll do that. Actually, yeah, that would be kind of cool. I would love that. A biography when he's, like, on the last years of his life, and he's just like, you know what? I'll tell everything. And, like, the last thing is that he retired and just became a shoemaker. I think that's awesome. I don't know if it happened, though. Anyway, sorry for rambling. Actually, how long has this thing been going on? Oh, Jesus Christ, I need to speed this up. Okay, so for the next topic, as we've seen in recent years, Disney is really going forward with their plans to retell as many of their animated classics, turning them into live-action films as possible, with the upcoming releases including Aladdin, Dumbo, Lion King, and even Mulan. And actually, last week we did get confirmation as to who will be portraying Mulan. Disney has cast a Chinese actress. I cannot pronounce her actual name because her last name is really, her last name's really weird for me, but she sometimes goes by the name of Crystal Liu as well. She's been chosen out of 1,000 other candidates, and the studio was looking for anyone with credible martial arts skills who could speak English fluently, or at least near fluently, and the most important thing, star quality. I'm not familiar with Crystal Liu, although I do know that she has worked on films like Once Upon a Time, Forbidden Kingdom, and The Assassins. I'm going to have to watch those sometime before Mulan comes out just to see how her acting talents are. And so far there's no other casting news, and a release date hasn't been announced yet, but Disney is still eyeing a potential 2019 release. Okay, and for the next topic, just 2 years ago, Star Wars came back into the forefront, gaining a new popularity since the days of Phantom Menace and the prequels, and, okay, I don't want to talk about that, I'm just going to start rambling if I do. I would argue that popularity is still going strong, and one of the reasons for the newfound popularity is Daisy Ridley, who gave her breakout performance in The Force Awakens as Rey, and at this time in Ridley's life, she seems to be bouncing back and forth between projects, trying to get her name out there as a credible acting talent. And in an interview, she seems to have implied that after episode 9, she doesn't plan on coming back for at least a long time. When asked about her plans to portray the character of Rey indefinitely, she said this, and I quote, "No. For me, I didn't really know what I was signing on to. I hadn't read the script, but from what I could tell, it was really, really nice people involved. So I thought, awesome, now I think I am luckier than I knew then to be a part of something that feels so much like coming home now. No. I am really excited to do this third thing and round it out, because ultimately what I was signing on for was 3 films. So, in my head, it's 3 films. I think that it will feel right to round it out." And of course, she was asked also if she plans on coming back for any future installments. And she said this, "Who knows? I honestly feel like the world may end in the next 30 years. So if in 30 years we're not living underground in a series of interconnected cells, then sure, maybe. But then again, who knows? Because the thing I thought was so amazing was people really wanted it." That's actually how she said it. I don't understand what... That doesn't sound like proper English, but I'm not going to say anything. Anyway, it was done by people who really loved it. How old will I be? 55? Fuck, I can't even think that far ahead. And yes, she said fuck. I would actually love to hear her say fuck. Now, the way that I see it, if she doesn't want to play the character indefinitely, that's fine. It's kind of tied to what I said with Daniel Day-Lewis, but this is different. There's always the worry about being typecast if you do something for far too long. And I want to see her do more things. Hell, she's been in another film this year, Murder on the Orient Express. And I thought that she was good. She definitely has the acting chops to be something great. But here's my issue with the statement of her potentially being done after Episode 9. Within the past couple of months, the president of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, came out in an interview and said that they would continue the episodic storyline with the newer characters in the future. And she included the names Finn, Poe, even BB-8, and yes, even Rey. Of course, things probably aren't set in stone. But I think that Ridley and Kennedy should have gotten all their ducks in a row before making statements that conflict with each other. But again, as I said, if she wants to move on to other things, then Godspeed to her. I really do hope that it works out. Okay. I really wanted to do a video on this topic, but I don't talk about trailers too much, but I can ramble a little bit about this because this is actually an important news topic. Last week, the first official trailer for Avengers Infinity War outside of Comic-Con dropped online. and it's an amazing trailer. I can't tell you how many times I've rewatched it. It's just amazing. It's fucking epic. Well, it appears that I wasn't the only one with that opinion, because the trailer has surpassed the first trailer of Stephen King's It in views, making Avengers Infinity War, the first trailer, the most viewed trailer in a 24-hour period with 230 million views. Yeah, when the It trailer only had about 197 million, I think. Hold on. Yeah, 197 million. I almost said 107. Very minor news, but it made me really excited because I really did love the trailer. I was initially expecting nothing but a bunch of big, grand action set pieces, but no, instead we got this drama-filled, suspense-driven trailer with a lot of good action money shots at the very end. And I could actually feel the weight of this film, the importance, because nobody has ever done anything like this. Anyway, I'm going to move on before I start rambling for hours, because I've already rambled way too much. Okay, so for the next topic, okay, for every episode that I've made of Last Week in Cinema so far, I've talked about the upcoming Tarantino film, you know, called Number 9, basically. Or it's not called Number 9, but that's the placeholder until they can come up with a name. This episode's no different, and that's because last week the release date for the film was set, and the date is actually pretty interesting. They have the date set for August 9th, 2019. Now, that may not seem like a big, interesting, or important date to you guys, but it is actually, in fact, the 50th anniversary of the Tate LaBianca murders. And as you know, the murder of Sharon Tate is actually a focus in the film, so yeah, that's kind of weird. I love it, but I know, like, there's a couple of people online who thought that was kind of macabre. So far, from what is set up, the only film that is coming out that same week is Disney's adaptation of Artemis Fowl, the fantasy book series. And seeing as that will be a family film, the films won't have too much of an overlap when it comes to people clamoring to see them. It's not like if two comic book movies came out the same weekend. No, that would be... oh god, that would be horrible. Okay, and for the next topic, and this one actually kind of made me sad, but also made me think, I don't know why I did that. In a previous episode, I talked about the Dark Universe from Universal, and how it was already failing out of the gate, as well as the frontrunners leaving. And it would seem that the original, it would seem that originally Universal was looking at another person to helm the franchise instead of Chris Morgan and Alex Kurtzman. While promoting his new film, The Shape of Water, director Guillermo del Toro stated that he was given the chance to take the reins of Universal's library of monster movies a decade ago, but he turned down the request. In his time with IndieWire, he said this: "I've said no to things that are enormous, and I've never looked back. The only time that I repent that I didn't do anything was in 2007 when Universal, in an incredibly gentle and beautiful manner, said, 'Do you want to take over the monster universe?' And they gave me the reins of several properties, and I didn't do it. That I repent." So this is a confessional moment. I repent. He says I repent a lot. That's the only thing. Mistakes teach you a lot. I think you learn more from failure and mistakes than you do from success. He also didn't shy away from the fact that he loves the old Universal monster movies. He even cited Creature of the Black Lagoon, one of my favorite classic horror movies of all time, as an inspiration for the Shape of Water. And he's been wanting to develop a Frankenstein film for years, but sadly the latter probably won't happen with the response to the Dark Universe franchise. And though the way I look at it is that if he had said yes to helm the franchise, we probably wouldn't be getting The Shape of Water, which many are calling either his best film since Pan's Labyrinth or his best film, best film period. But who knows? With the Dark Universe no longer having any kind of person to helm it, and the Bride of Frankenstein film is halted in production, maybe they will actually decide to ask Del Toro once again, and we may actually get that Frankenstein film, but time will tell. I wasn't looking forward to this topic. Okay, so for the next topic. A while ago, I commented on how Warner Brothers and DC needs to focus on making good movies before planning all of these extra films and spin-offs. Well, they've come out with another announcement, and this one really shows that they are just more for making big plans than actually focusing on making good movies. They're all talk and no action. So, already, we've got 2 spin-off films announced that are centered on Harley Quinn, at least in some form or fashion. Just a fan, she's a fan favorite from that god-awful Suicide Squad, and I will admit I liked her too. I liked Margot Robbie in that. First we have Gotham City Sirens, and a Harley/Joker spin-off. Well, Margot Robbie has said in an interview that there's another to look forward to. That makes it 3 movies planned with Harley. Oh no, wait, 4. I say 4 because she's still, she's gonna come back for Suicide Squad 2. And the 3rd Harley Quinn movie is based off of an idea that Robbie had while filming Suicide Squad, which is an all-female-centric film. Even though Gotham City Sirens is already planned to be exactly that. Now look, I don't understand the DCEU. They come out with a shit ton of new announcements when they only have 5 films released, and only one of them is considered an overall good movie. Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad, and Justice League are all divisive with the fan communities and are just panned critically by the critics, including me. I fucking hate that movie. And Wonder Woman is beloved by both sides. I mean, that's the only good one. That was a fluke, I think. That was a definite fluke. Now is the time to do a reset and just stop fucking planning. Let Aquaman come out, since it's way too far into production to cancel, and then just reboot the entire goddamn universe. Start over. It's not worth it. And I know that this topic is about Harley Quinn, but I just need to get out there. It's just that seeing all these announcements, I just think that if any part of me actually believed that things would get better for Warner Brothers and DC, and that they would fix their universe, that part no longer does. I just want this universe to die. I want it gone. Okay, and so for the next topic, a Masters of the Universe film, He-Man and Skeletor and all that shit, has been talked about for many years, and the project has had way too many directors attached to name. But now we've seen that David S. Goyer, the screenwriter of Batman Begins and Man of Steel, is set as the director, as well as the screenwriter of the film. And the film is officially set for December 19th, 2019, so the studio obviously wants to get the film off the ground after it being in pre-production for so long. But I think it may move because I'm pretty sure that not even a week before that, Star Wars Episode 9 comes out. That's not a smart thing to do. Now, this news doesn't mean too much for me because I didn't grow up with anything tied to the Masters of the Universe or He-Man, except for that stupid fucking video where it's just that song What's Going On, and it's just He-Man going, hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's literally the closest thing that I've ever, been associated with He-Man. But it does interest me because of how many times I've heard announcements about a new director added to the project. Oh, sorry, my back is itching. But, who knows? This could actually be legit. Excuse me. Or Goyer could actually just be, another addition to this ever-growing list of filmmakers who have just come and gone so far. Hopefully it's not like that. Okay, and for the next topic, so for a long while, many people have questioned if there was going to be a biopic on Freddie Mercury, the original frontrunner of Queen, and arguably the greatest singer to ever live, or just even one on the band itself. The project was in development hell for many years, until Bryan Singer, the director, finally got approval from the living band members of Queen to make the film, and Sacha Baron Cohen was actually attached to play Mercury for a while until he dropped off because it was just being delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. And recently, Rami Malek, the breakout star of Mr. Robot, a show that I haven't seen yet, but I've seen him act in some movies. I think he's pretty good. He was cast as Mercury, and then the film went into production. Well, now it seems that the production has halted due to the unexpected unavailability of Bryan Singer, the director. One of Singer's representatives actually told BBC that the unavailability was due to a personal health matter involving Singer and his family. However, THR reported that he failed to return after the Thanksgiving break, and now the studio is nervous about the state of the film and are actually in talks about potentially replacing Singer. And Singer has disappeared a few times during the filming of a couple of his films in the past, which I didn't learn until yesterday. Though I don't think it's ever been clear why he does it. I'm just hoping that he will be back so that production can continue quickly, because I love Queen and Freddie Mercury. This is the only biopic that I've ever actually begged to happen. I really hope that it gets off the ground soon. Okay, I believe, is this the last topic? This may actually be, I don't know, my show notes are way too long. Okay, so, James Franco. He's had a pretty good year in 2017. I mean, he starred and directed in quite a few episodes of HBO's The Deuce, which has gained numerous accolades. And then his film, which is coming out this Friday, sadly I won't be able to see it because my fiancée Mallory is going to be in Vegas for her 21st birthday, and I have basically written a contract stating that I cannot watch the film until she gets back, so I'm going to be here suffering by myself. And it's coming out in a week, and that film is already being considered his best film to date, as well as best performance to date, and it's even getting a good fair bit of Oscar buzz. And recently, I even talked about the announcement that he would be portraying the mutant Multiple Man in the X-Men universe. Well, last week it was actually announced that he is attached to star in and direct A Boy Named Shel, based on a biography that's based on the life, or that's about the life of Shel Silverstein, the author behind such wondrous childhood classics like Where the Sidewalk Ends, The Giving Tree, and The Light in the Attic. And this is the best that I can give you, but if you're curious about the synopsis of the film, the best thing you can do is look at the synopsis of the original book by Lisa Grobnak, and I actually have the synopsis here. I looked it up myself, and I was actually... because I saw it, I actually want to see this film because of how important and how diverse Silverstein was. Here, listen to this. This is the actual Amazon synopsis for it. In A Boy Named Shel, Lisa Grobnak tells the full story of a life as antic and adventurous as any of his creations. A man with an incurable case of wanderlust, Shel kept homes on both coasts and in many places in between, and enjoyed regular stays in the Playboy Mansion. Everywhere he went, he charmed neighbors, made countless friends, and romanced almost as many women as with his unstoppable energy and never-ending wit. His boundless creativity brought him fame and fortune, neither of which changed his down-to-earth way of life. And his children's books sold for millions of copies. But he was so much more than just a children's writer. He collaborated with anyone who crossed his path, and found success in a wider range of genres than most artists could ever hope to master. He penned hit songs like A Boy Named Sue and The Unicorn. He drew cartoons for Stars and Stripes and got his big break with Playboy. He wrote experimental plays and collaborated with scripts, on scripts with David Mamet. With a seemingly unending stream of fresh ideas, he worked compulsively and enthusiastically on a wide array of projects up until his death in 1999. As I said, I'm only slightly familiar with his author career, and now that I know that he's pretty much been all over, I'm really excited to see this story brought to the actual silver screen. Actually, this is the last topic, and naturally this would be the stopping point, but I do want to do one more thing real quick. You know how I've been doing the box office that starts off the last week, I've realized that it doesn't make too much sense since that was technically 2 weeks ago. So I will actually end this show first by doing the weekend box office that just ended, and next week I will permanently switch things around. Topics first, and then the weekend box office. This time the box office report is for the weekend of December 1st to the 3rd. And so I want to mention, this is going to be quick, and the top 5 really hasn't changed. The exact same placement for the previous week still holds, mainly because there were no new releases this weekend. In 5th place was Daddy's Home 2, making $7.5 million for the weekend domestic, bringing it up to a domestic total of $82.8 million and a worldwide total of $116.8 million. Again, not much to comment on for me with that movie. 4th place is Thor Ragnarok once again. The weekend domestic was $9.6 million, domestic total $291.4 million, with an overall worldwide total of $816.4 million. Oh, it's got about $60 million left before it becomes the highest grossing comic book movie of 2017. It's gonna make it in its sleep, I swear to God. And then 3rd place Wonder again, with the weekend domestic at $12.5 million, overall domestic total of $88 million, and then a worldwide total of $100.2 million. And again, I'm really glad that this movie is still going strong. Still wish that it would surpass the terrible movie in 2nd place, which is Justice League, with a weekend domestic of $16.6 million, overall domestic total of $197.3 million, and a worldwide total of $567.4 million. This film is not going to amount to much, and just here's how to show that it really did bomb. No new releases had come out last weekend, or this most recent weekend, and it still dropped like almost 70%. That's bad. Okay, so, and then in 1st place is Coco, once again, and that made me happy. For the weekend domestic, it was at $26.1 million, with a domestic total of $108.6 million, with a worldwide total of $280 million. This film has already, or at least almost, if not already, made a profit. And that's good. Movies like this deserve to be watched, and hell, I've already seen it twice. I may even see it a 3rd time before it comes out on DVD, because I love that movie so much, and it's just an experience to watch it in the theaters. Oh, that'll do it for me with this installment of Last Week in Cinema. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode. I'm really sorry that it did take a little bit to get through this, but that's mainly just because I'm still getting a little bit used to this, and plus I did just get off of a 12-hour shift, so I am a little bit mentally tired. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go to sleep. I'll see you guys in the next episode.